Hello, SReXperts. My name is Anton Karneliuk, and together with Argiris, I am working in Vodafone Group Network Engineering and Delivery. Over the past 12 months, we have performed a couple of proof of concept and trials in terms of SDN controller, where Nokia NSP suite was one of the controls that we have tested. And when Argiris asked about my opinion about SDN in general and this particular product, I thought it would be a good idea to share our key findings with you, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope it would be interesting for you. So, what is SDN and what SDN is not? So, SDN definitely is not a magic that automatically solves all your network problems. SDN, it is just a tool which is as good as you know how to use it, right? So, from my opinion, the biggest advantage of SDN is coming not only when SDN controller manages your network, which is like obvious, but also when SDN controller is integrated with a kind of service portal or orchestrator, which provides you possibility to really automate your network processes. The idea sounds pretty straightforward, isn't it? But what about the reality? Let's check that together. The Argiris is doing a great presentation for you. I don't intend to overtake it, but what I intend to do is just share with you a simple but very important concept about the integration of SDN controller. So, in the current world, the communication between the application mainly done using the REST API. And case of communication between the orchestrator and SDN controller is not different. So we are using mainly REST API, and in Nokia NSP, it is also REST API to integrate the SDN controller with the orchestrator. For those of you who are not familiar with REST API, it's actually an HTTP-based interface which uses a set of parameters to be sent and transmitted mainly in the JSON format. So this JSON format is defined mainly by service YAN data models or their JSON implementation, so-called JSD, so JSON schema definitions. So on these definitions, on this YAN model, it is explained which parameters with which values should be sent and transmitted, by both part of the application respectively. So once this model is agreed between the orchestrator and between the SDN controller itself, you have a smoothly working your integration, so your SDN. But what happens if this communication is broken? We have a kind of problem, right? The problem might be pretty small if it is just some kind of network issues, like problem of communication between the application or software probably bug or memory leaking. So whatever could happen, but something that could be solved by troubleshooting. The bigger problem arises when after the software upgrade of either the SDN controller or the orchestrator, the data model is changed. Like you can see previously, there was one type of parameters which needs to be sent and received, but after the upgrade, it has changed. So, meaning there is no more possibility to properly communicate between the orchestrator and SDN controller. This is very dangerous scenario because it always costs time and money, because basically you would need to change your integration. You need to change the code or whatever else you are using to perform this integration. And it costs time and money, and sometimes a lot of time and money, especially if you need to do it urgently. So to avoid this stuff, we need to have stable and consistent data models across the software releases. There are a couple of ways how it could be achieved. So the one way is when both the SDN controller and orchestrator are using the same standard-based data model, like for instance, IETF, layer 2 or layer 3 service models. And we know that exactly this model implemented in the same way between these two components. Or alternatively, if there is possibility in the SDN controller or orchestrator to have backward capabilities of the data models over software releases. So let's say some new features of data models introduced in new release, but still you have possibility to comply with the previous software releases in order to maintain this integration. So whatever path should be followed, it depends probably on case by case. But it is obviously this consistency is necessary to sustain the integrations of the SDN controller. That's the way how this problem could be solved. Thanks for your attention and enjoy the SR